Hello and welcome to User Spotlights. I'm Laura with ClickFunnels, and today I'm joined by Mercedes Kelly. Mercedes is a real estate investor and coach. She's the founder and CEO of Billionaire Creator Academy, and she has a passion for helping people reach their goals and live their dreams through real estate. Welcome, Mercedes. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me, Laura. It was an honor.
Of course. Can you start out by telling me a little bit about how you got involved in this industry?
Yeah, that's a funny question and a loaded one. I was the one who went to school and I figured out, okay, I can actually graduate early if I work harder, right? So I had this mentality of work hard now so I can, rest in the future, retire early. So graduated high school at 16, went off to college. But I come from humble beginnings, so couldn't afford traditional college, was working 3 jobs at community college, not getting the real college experience. And that was in like 2004, 2005, where you see these real estate people like really making money, right? So I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should switch my major to real estate, right? And they said, hey, well, you don't need a degree. It's just a license. I'm like, what? Well, how long is the school? And they said 2 weeks. And I said, what? I'm quitting college tomorrow. So, it was kind of like a Silicon Valley move for me in that time. So I went to school, for 2 weeks, passed the test and got into real estate and figured out that, retail sales really isn't where the money was made. I learned a lot, but it was the investing. So hooked up with some investors and the rest is history.
Wow. So what was it about real estate specifically? Like, were you interested in, obviously you knew how to fast track things. Like you graduated early. You knew that you could make things happen. Was there anything specific in the industry where you were like, I can be good at that, or I'm interested in real estate, or I want to invest? What specifically was it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the thought of showing someone a home, right, and being that force that helped them was definitely attractive for me.
Yeah.
The real thing, right, in real estate that moved me to the investment side was putting the deal together. I explained it the other day to someone like, it's putting a puzzle together. So when I can find a deal, right, and then bless that person, get them out of that distress situation, find somebody and give them a deal, and I can get paid for it, and I don't have to have a degree. Well, if I do it once, I can do it 100 times, right? 100 times in a month. I'm think big, think bigger. So the part for me was putting the deal together, being able to see it, and then it was wins, like an NBA player, right? It's like, oh man, so we won that game, and then the finals, right?
Yeah. So you built up clearly a whole lot of momentum. Tell me about how you kind of transferred that into an online business.
Yeah, great question. So literally, and I'm sure within your industry, you don't realize, I guess, how much is left unknown to others who just don't know, right? So it's one of those things where you have a conversation with people that are outside the industry and they're like, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you accomplish that? And it's like, oh, well, it's easy. You just do such, right? One through 5. And then you start getting calls. It's like, well, I'm going to have to start billing you guys per hour because I can't do my work. Got to hire some more employees. I don't mind helping, right?
Yeah.
Jokes aside, I would start then talking to people because, the more experience you get, the more you learn, oh, so if this happens, then I can do this. Or I'm supposed to do, A, B, and C so that I don't have to potentially deal with this hurdle. Yeah. So when I had, friends, people in the business that didn't know certain loopholes or that would call me when they had hurdles, I'm like, there's a need, honestly, to help people in the business. And I learned from Shark Tank that was the best way, right? The best businesses solve needs for people. And that's Billionaire Creator Academy came about.
Amazing. So you found the need. You had people coming to you, like questions like crazy. You realized you just needed to know more than a certain demographic of other people who were very interested in something. So to be able to teach them and educate them on those things, you realized you had a business there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I'm also looking at other people who were guiding people, and I'm like, that's not right, or that doesn't work anymore. That's dated, right?
Yeah.
So seeing like that's just like talking about computers 10 years ago. You can't, computers 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to operate. An MRI machine from 10 years ago, we couldn't operate. So I started getting upset that they were misguiding people also,
Yeah. So how does ClickFunnels specifically help you in your business?
Man, shout out Russell Brunson. Okay, first and foremost. So one of the things that ClickFunnels did for me, and full disclosure, I'm not a tech person, right? One of the things that allowed me to get to where I am now, even in my real estate career, is hiring or partnering myself with those people who are masters in their position, right? So the thing that attracted me about ClickFunnels is I'm like, hold on, everything integrates with it. So it's like, in the Zapier, everything that my tech people need, it's all in here. The coding, the hieros, right? Everything can be somewhere inside of ClickFunnels, and it makes them happier and it allows them to work smoother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main thing for me. And then just being able to, let me back up. Earlier in my career, we were taught to take the client through a funnel, right? So when we hear funnel, we as salespeople already know, okay, those are certain stages, right? Yeah. And the retargeting, that's important because I never want to work as hard my first year in business as my 10th year in business, and so on and so on. So if I can retarget those people that even didn't buy 5 years ago, or guess what, maybe they did, but now I have a new product.
Yeah.
The targeting option and the lifetime value of a customer is what allows you to collect that data in ClickFunnels and makes our life easier and more money.
Yeah. And that's what we love to hear. That's why we exist, to make an entrepreneur's life easier as a business owner so that everything can all work together.
Thank you.
So what types of funnels do you use in your business?
Yeah. So again, shout out to my advertising team. But we have a couple different pages. So the first page is like an opt-in page, right? It's showing that interest. And it's allowing us nowadays to email you. And that's another thing. Things have changed so much, right? We have to be allowed to text, be allowed to email, and there has to be some type of proven opt-in. So we have an opt-in page. And then from there, the client is able to be targeted and we're able to sell the story, right? So if they have questions about the story, oh, I want to see these testimonials, right? So they are really engulfed in the whole process up until the actual seminar, right? So a couple different funnel pages, depending on what type of client clicks on what type of link that is attractive to them.
Yeah. How long have you been in business?
So I've been coaching for about 6 years. I actually started real estate at 18. I won't tell my age, but I've been in the business for 18 years. So simple math. But so yeah, so been an entrepreneur, had ups and downs. The market crashed, things of that nature. Internet wasn't as prominent, but the coaching continues to have a need for sure.
Did you always imagine that you would be an entrepreneur?
So it's so funny, and I'm glad you asked that. I don't think we heavily used the term entrepreneur maybe like 20 years ago. I just knew that when I woke up and went to my jobs, the different jobs that I had, I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
So unhappy. Like literally it was probably clinical depression, right? But when you come from humble beginnings like me, you can't afford to be depressed. So you just go through the motions, right? And it wasn't until I started real estate and realizing, oh my God, I can make a lump sum of money. Oh, I can have my own ideas. I was reading a book today and they said that, big dreamers and the most successful people want to have the freedom to have their own ideas and have their ideas heard. So I didn't know that entrepreneur spirit was in me, fighting, saying you're letting them put you in a box. And I was fighting to get out of that box. So didn't always know because there wasn't a word to it, but I knew something was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how being in those situations, sometimes the biggest driver or the biggest force field is just no longer wanting to be in that situation, like want something different. Because everybody has a different story of why they started a business, and it took, to serve others or to just have passive income. Sometimes it's just because like you need to feel happier than the things that you've experienced previously. And I think that it's one of the biggest drivers, because you look back and you're like, I don't want 20 years from now to look back on me now and still know that I was unhappy. So like that causes you to make that change, which I think is so powerful.
Yeah. And I tell this to my students, like, you're 1,000% right. And, not to get all sentimental, but there are some people in certain countries that can't.
Yeah.
They literally can't. Like, people will use the word can't, and I hate that word, right? But in a situation where, what if you were discriminated against and you had a social class and you couldn't do anything?
Yeah.
You couldn't say, hey, let me pay for this. What if you were legally not allowed?
Yeah.
First world country privilege, right, allows us to not realize that there are people who can not change their situation or risk their lives to do what we can do.
Exactly. And how blessed we are to have the internet, at our fingertips. That alone can help us launch a business.
2 phones right here.
Exactly. So yeah, I love hearing about your business and how long you've been here and seeing the success that you've seen. What are your goals, for the next 15, 20 years in your business? What do you hope to achieve?
Yes. So, and that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. For me, I want to create a path that wasn't created for me. There was so much corporate sabotage when I first got into the business that it was almost impossible for you to make it, especially with the market crashing. So my goal is to be able to provide or make my academy more and more foolproof, more and more cookie cutter, right? My 14-year-old son, as soon as he turned 14, he closed a deal, right? A real estate deal. Those are the things I want to show, because really the concept should be taught, I feel like, in elementary school. Investing, balancing a checkbook, structuring your business. It's not, though, right? So my goal is to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to now see if a 10-year-old can go through, understand this, and be able to orchestrate a deal, right? The more cookie cutter that I can make the process and guaranteed for my student, then I can kind of know for a fact that I've done what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's interesting too that what is unconventional education right now is technically what should be conventional learning, right? They're the skills that help you get by and create a life for yourself. And they're the things that you don't get in, standardized education. But it's so great that there's people out there that are like, if I can do it, let me teach you how to do it as well. Yep. There's so much power in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember when a game came out called Fortnite for my son. And I'm like, I was encouraging him since then. I think he was like maybe like 7 or 8. I'm like, why didn't you think of that? You have to be buying skins every week, create something. So even if my dream for people, even if real estate isn't the end all be all stop, it can at least fund what your dream is. So if you want to paint, if you want to be an artist, if you want to start a tech company, right? Real estate and knowing how to put deals together and puzzles together can help fund that.
Yeah. Well, that's great insight. And it kind of already answers my next question, but I would love to ask you anyway. Sure. What big piece of advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to start their own business or maybe has an idea and maybe it's real estate? What would you tell them for starting?
Yeah. So go ahead and start. Like, people have analysis paralysis, right? So it has to be a combination of studying and implementing. Our school system teaches us, right? Shout out to the school system, but it teaches us to be a student for so long before we put in any action.
Yeah.
I disagree with that, right? I believe in a more of an apprentice, right? Like you learn a little, you have someone show you a little, you go out there, you do it, you make a few mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, and then you proceed, right? So nothing will happen if you're a consistent student only without action.
Yeah. Get your hands dirty. Do the work. Yeah.
Roll up the boots and strap them up and let's go.
Yeah. I love that. That's great advice. Thanks. So one last thing, where can people go to learn more about you and your business and all of the great things that you're doing in real estate?
Well, I am on social media like most people. So you can find me on Instagram at Billionaire Queen Kelly.
Love it. Any website that people can find you at?
So I have my ClickFunnels, and it's actually in the Instagram. So when you're there, you can click that link.
Great.
And you can opt in and drink the Kool-Aid.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate everything that you've shared with us today, your insight. You've got such a go-getter mentality. And I love that you are teaching people that like anybody can get a slice of that pie. Just like roll up your sleeves, get the work done. Like you're living proof of that. It's very inspiring. And I appreciate you sharing that with us today. And I wish you all the best.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for choosing me.
Thank you so much, Mercedes. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.